companies start fighting the government instead of serving the people, you know a major shift is happening. And Amazon, they just blinked. Earlier today, reports exploded that Amazon was planning to list Trump's tariffs next to product prices, literally blaming rising costs on the White House. A move like that, it's not business, it's political warfare, waged through your shopping cart. And guess what happened? The White House called it hostile.
Brunch or anything? Just
before
a call?
brunch. Girl, just a call.
Oh.
But they were like, look, you were running your mouth in these streets, and now you can't host the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I was like, oh, no.
Whatever they say to be able to put on a good face.
Why are you so angry?
I'm not angry. I'm frustrated.
I mean, you look enraged.
I'm frustrated like most Americans because we want to know where the cuts are.
Gretchen, let me just hit pause here. I mean, look. People get worked up at this table,
yes.
yourself included, all the time. Let's not call people angry when they're simply making a point.
Well, she's very upset.
Like I just have to say that because I think that
you're blaming it on IT.
Let's deal with.
I'm not blaming anything. I'm saying it was a good byproduct.
Scott and Gretchen, just give me 1 second, okay? Let's deal with the issues at hand. We don't have to, say you're angry. This. She's just making a point.
Yeah, so many things happened. I was not fortunate to report on what exactly was going on because I had other topics to report on. Like you saw, the case of Amazon struggling to bring in politics, which we all know. I have a couple of videos I'm going to show you. This calculating the view, CNN going up in chaos simply because they cannot understand exactly what they are even talking about. Scott did something on this segment. They had to cut to commercials simply because they don't want people to see the truth. I have the videos. If you love what I'm doing here, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please endeavor to do that. And if possible, share out the video and check if your notification is on.
Companies start fighting the government instead of serving the people, you know a major shift is happening. And Amazon, they just blinked. Earlier today, reports exploded that Amazon was planning to list Trump's tariffs next to product prices, literally blaming rising costs on the White House. A move like that, it's not business, it's political warfare, waged through your shopping cart. And guess what happened? The White House called it hostile. And within hours, Amazon backpedaled faster than Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk. They said it was only an idea for Amazon Hall, their discount warehouse, and it was never approved. But the truth is obvious. They tested it. They floated the idea. They wanted to shift blame onto leadership rather than adapting like every smart business must do in a major market transition. If Amazon had gone through with it, it would have been a political admission that they can't absorb economic changes. It would have weaponized consumer anger against themselves. It would have handed platforms like TikTok Shop the golden opportunity to steal their lunch money and build loyalty fast. Because here's what real businesses understand. When the economy shifts, you evolve, you pivot, innovate, restructure. You don't cry, try to turn on your customers instead, and cause them to become your political shield. Amazon almost forgot who their real boss is. Not politicians, not tariff writers, not lobbyists, you, the customer. Had they rolled out the plan, millions of Americans would have clicked away, closed the app, and found a business that actually respects the reality we're living in. Business owners, listen carefully. The companies that survive the next 5 years won't be the ones who point fingers. They'll be the ones who solve problems for American people, no matter how tough the environment gets. Consumers, pay attention. You're about to see which businesses are built for you. Adapt or collapse. That's the real economy. And trust me, loyalty is shifting faster than anyone at the top is currently ready for. And for more information like this, continue to like and follow the Business Giant.
Yes, Amazon thought they can experiment on this. Just within the space of 2 days, their stock, everything was down. That is to tell you the havoc they could cause in this business. You can't do this. They thought it was a good move, a good strategy to side taking off these tariffs to pay some product, but people didn't see it that way. It was a blunder. And I wish they should not even mention this again because by now we were singing here like a song, you know, comparing to Bud Light. Now going to something else. When I look at this guy who actually analyzed this whole situation.
Today, I announced a lawsuit on behalf of the state of California suing the Trump administration. California is the largest manufacturing state in our union, one of the largest trading partners around the globe. No state will be impacted more than the state of California as it relates to the unilateral authority that's being asserted by the Trump administration to impose the largest tax increase in modern American history.
What do you make of what Gavin Newsom is doing right now with this podcast? Because I've said I'm against conservatives going on his podcast because I think it's helping him train for 2028.
Yeah,
I don't think we should help him.
I agree completely. I didn't think that obviously I know Gavin Newsom. I text with him occasionally. I am from the state of California. I'm from originally San Francisco. And I have relatives who know him. And I've been familiar with Gavin Newsom for a long time. I know his ex-wife. I have been bothering him for years. Like, you should come on my show. And he was kind of open to it. And then he whips around and he's like, no, you should come on mine. I was like, oh, I would love to, because I would love to debate him about what he's done to my state. And then I watched a parade of people go on, some of whom are good friends of mine, by the way, conservatives go on his show. And I realized, and I'm not attacking them at all, I almost did, but then I realized, oh, wait a second, this is like, the point of this is not to have a real conversation or to answer questions. The point of this is to rehabilitate. And I would say of Gavin, like, he's legit smart. I don't think there's anything at all at the core other than misery, another deeply, deeply unhappy person who, we should be rooting for him to get his life together. But someone who kind of externalizes everything. There's nothing at the center, and so everything is about the public display. A truly wounded, screwed up person, like on a very deep level, not joking, but also a talented person who will say anything, which in politics is an advantage. If you're willing to say anything, I mean, there's things that you will not say, many of them, because you don't believe them. And maybe, I'll just speak for myself. Like, there are some times where I've got strong views on something and I'm like, you should just shut up and keep that to yourself because you will just alienate everybody. And like, you don't need to express everything that you think. I tell myself that a lot because I have some views that are super unpopular, okay? But I will never say something that I don't believe. That's got to be the line. But there's no line at all with him, like none.
Yes. When I take a look at what Gavin Newsom is doing over the issue of tariffs, Gavin Newsom came out like, I'm suing the Trump administration because of this, because of that. We have seen how irrelevant the guy is becoming. I understand his strategy, starting a podcast, was to run for president, and Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson understand exactly why he is doing that. At a certain point, I was not doing videos about this guy since after that fire, but when I saw this, it is important. I show you.
Amazon just found out this morning they need to stop playing with Trump. I don't know who the genius is over there, but this was not the move. They thought that they were going to be slick, and they announced a plan to slap a new button on every single product, telling buyers exactly how much extra they're paying because of Trump's tariffs. Really? Where was the button when Biden's inflation was destroying the middle class? Where was the Biden surcharge button when groceries were doubling, when gas prices skyrocketed? Exactly. This is not about transparency. This is about playing politics. And let's be honest, the button that customers really need to see is what's the factory cost of the products and how much is Amazon marking that up? How much are they charging their third-party sellers in hidden fees? If Amazon really cared about honesty, they'd start there. But here's where it gets even better. After they made their big announcement, Trump picked up that phone. Yes, he did. And he had a little convo with Jeff Bezos. And suddenly, Amazon decided maybe the tariff button isn't necessary. So they dropped it just like that. The whole thing just disappeared. Tap that follow if you love this America First president.
Michelle Obama is literally going down for the third time into this pool of self-involvement, and you don't think she's going to come up again. Like, she's dying.
There is nothing better than listening to Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson destroying their egoistically maniac Michelle Obama. I don't know if you've seen this. I posted a similar video a few hours ago, but I didn't want to put the complete video. I'm going to show you what exactly actually happened here. Michelle recently is entering into politics gradually. She said something that triggered a lot of people on social media during this podcast. I don't really like hypocrisy.
Podcast, and he asked her something about her greatest fear as of late, and here's what she said.
This current climate for me, it's, what's happening to immigrants. So it's not the fear for myself anymore. I drive around in a 4-car motorcade with a police escort. I'm Michelle Obama. I do still worry about my daughters in the world, even though they are somewhat recognizable. So my fears are for what I know is happening out there in streets all over the city. And now that we have leadership that is sort of indiscriminately determining who belongs and who doesn't, and we know that those decisions aren't being made with courts and with due process, and, that it's being made like this cop.
Before Michelle Obama can make this comment, I want her to look into what Barack Obama did. If she can do that, she won't even have a voice to speak again, but she is doing that. Thank you guys for always be there sharing all my videos. God bless you abundantly. At least from the comment sections, a lot of people are now understanding how I speak. I'm impressed. It means something to me. I'm improving.
This life of public service at the heights.
Celebrity trappings, friends.
They've been in the public eye.
Fuel on the fire.
Like disappointing people.
That honestly, policy is what we need to be fighting.
Member of Congress right now.
Even Michelle Obama.
What if he says self-defense?
There's no self-defense, because if you are afraid the day before, well, you have to
compare the two. You have to compare who was the initial aggressor. Was it
followers for anything? And then
Registration Act is.
Thank you guys for always be there sharing out my videos. God bless you abundantly.
we start talking about this man, Kilmer.
These are the